New survey, millennials are hopeless when it comes to life skills. Hopeless? Come on, man. Jerry Acuff, workplace culture specialist. How are you, bud?
I'm doing good, Stevie. How are you?
I'm fine. All right. The millennial age is what? Between what is a millennial?
Well, it's basically this, it depends on what you look at. It's basically people born between 1980 and 2000.
1980 and 2000. Okay, so I've got 4. Right. Diane, you've got 3.
Yeah.
Not quite 3. 2. No, 2. 1. You just got one.
Just
millennial.
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think my 4 can handle themselves. I think they got life skills to handle themselves. I mean, they can. What's the survey say? They can't take care of themselves?
Well, it said 65% of them don't feel comfortable engaging face to face. It said that they're not that great at small talk. Their critical thinking skills are not what they need to be, and they're not good at problem solving. But I have to tell you, here's the way I have one, by the way, and mine would probably be one, if they interviewed, would fall into this category. But he's 17. The reality is that 45% of millennials are 19 to 25. He was born exactly in 2000, so he's sort of on the cusp.
Yeah.
So 45. When I was 25, I didn't have any of these life skills either. I had to develop them over time. So generalizations to me are problematic. I think what's true though is this: technology for this generation is a blessing and a curse.
Yep.
And it's a curse because I think it fundamentally delays the acquisition of life skills like human contact. And now I think those skills will be developed, and I think that you're exactly right. I don't worry about my son being able to handle himself in a crowd. We went to a wedding 2 years ago, and I had the guy come up to me, the father of the bride, and said, "Your kid's the most impressive young kid I've ever met." But yet he gets around other people and he's shy. But look, 30 to 50% of the people in America call themselves shy, so that's not overly problematic.
Well, 80%, Jerry, of the young folks, the millennials, 8 out of 10 prefer texting than talking.
Uh-huh.
Now, when you say direct human contact, you sound like you're talking in an alien movie, man. Direct human contact, right? Yeah.
Well, I think to them it is in some ways alien. But here's what I think. I think that as you get into the workforce and you have to go to an office, even if you're not going there very often, I think you're going to learn those life skills. Now, I think that a big challenge we have here is that education is failing us. The truth is the two things that all of our children need to learn, all of them need to learn, probably before they're 22, and in perfect world they learn it before they're 18, is how do you set and achieve stretch goals? How do you do things that are extraordinary? And that you can teach somebody. The second thing, and we don't teach that in school, the second thing we don't teach them is how do you build a valuable business a relationship with people so that you can have a network of people that can keep you employed the rest of your life. If 70% of all jobs come from our network, then being intentional and disciplined about building that network as early as possible is really, really important, and we are not teaching that in school. You can pay $50,000 a year to go to almost any college, and you graduate, you have not learned either of those things unless you learned it on your own. And to me, that's a huge myth.
But if you come into a job interview and you're actually able to communicate and make eye contact, sadly, you're probably going to be ahead of the curve.
Yeah. There's absolutely no question. One of the things that if you text 96,000 and put my name in the line, Jerry, you get to 7 interview questions you ought to ask. So if you're a millennial, you don't know what to do in an interview, get that document because I tell you exactly what questions to ask to find the job that you want. Because what you do want to do is to ask questions that make you, sound like you know what you're talking about. But the big thing here, too, that I think millennials need to learn is who can they learn from? I have 3 mentors. I have a mentor who's 60, which is actually younger than me. I have a mentor who's 32, who's a millennial, who's a rock star. And I have a millennial who's 25, who's a mentor to me. Because I want to learn from people that know more stuff than I know. And if I'm a millennial, I would want to connect with a boomer or a Generation Xer that knows things that I don't know, because I'm a big believer that life is a plural experience, not singular, and we need people to help us get better.
Well, and having the attitude that you want to keep learning is huge, too, because it is all about growing and getting better, isn't it?
Oh, sure. You know, my old boss used to say, when you're green, you're growing. When you're ripe, you're rotting. And so, you know,
you're old enough to remember Woody Hayes, Ohio State football coach. He said,
yeah,
every day we there's change every day. You either get a little worse, or a little get better, but you don't stay the same. And so you got to choose to get better. But that takes effort, and it can get bad quickly if you get apathetic and all that other stuff.
Yeah. Well, the blog I wrote this week is called "It's Not Easy," and I said, look, the list of things in life that are hard is really long. But the truth is, I don't know of anything that I've ever achieved in life that was easy.
Yeah.
And so, learning how to have human contact ain't easy. Learning how to work hard, not easy. Learning how to get better, not easy. But if you want to be successful,
doable. It's all doable. It's all doable.
It's all doable.
Yeah. How do people find you, Jerry?
At jerryacuff.com.
You sound like a country singer, man. Jerry Acuff, man. Acuff. As in Frank.
Yeah, listen, I've only written one country song, but I haven't gotten it recorded.
Well, get her done. Let's go.
Well, I'm afraid to do it. It might cause me a divorce.
Hey, listen, keep up your fine work. Thanks for the thoughts today, Jerry.
All right, thanks, Stevie J.
All right, forget lazy, self-centered, or cocky. The truth about most millennials is that they're absolutely hopeless when it comes to basic life and workplace skills. At least that's what some experts are saying.
All right, so let's talk to Jerry Acuff. He is a workplace culture specialist, and this sounds a little harsh. I mean, millennials get bagged on a lot. They're our favorite whipping boy here in the Kogo News Center. What did they find specifically?
Well, what they found was that they're basically hopeless when it comes to basically life skills. I mean, that's like 65% of them. They're incapable of small talk. Their critical thinking is problematic, and their problem solving is not very good. And their concern in this study was the steep decline in interpersonal skills. 65% of them don't feel comfortable engaging, face to face. Again, you got to remember this is one study, and I wrote my blog this week at jerryacuff.com. I basically talked about 3 reasons why I think millennials are misunderstood and underestimated. The reality is, generalizations I think are really problematic in any category. And if you look at the breakdown of millennials, 45% of them are 19 to 25. Well, listen, when I was 19 to 25, I was an idiot. And so the reality that, 45% of these people can't cook. I couldn't cook. I couldn't interview. I couldn't write a resume. I probably wasn't great at people skills. Heck, I quit a job at 25 because I couldn't get out of the car and call on customers. And now I'm one of the top sales experts in the world. So some of these things are going to develop, especially for the 55% that are over 25. If you look at other studies, a couple of things are absolutely true. One, the founders of Facebook, Pinterest, Airbnb, Lyft, Spotify, and Groupon are all millennials. Okay, so they ain't all bad. Next, I know 30. I wrote my blog. I put in 30 names of millennials that I think are phenomenal people and phenomenal workers. So I think that there's that issue. The other thing that's really fascinating, and the Harvard Business Review posted an article last August and talked about the fact that millennials are far more likely to be workaholics than any other generation, and they're far less likely to take vacation.
Okay, Jerry, but going back to this, all right, they're saying that 65% of millennials don't feel comfortable engaging with someone face to face. Is this about how they were being raised? Is this about parents not parenting?
Well, I think some of it is. I think it's basically 3 things. It's parenting, not parenting. It's schools that are failing them. I mean, here's the reality. The 2 things that you need to learn in college, and we all want these kids to go to college. I think you ought to learn these things in high school. Is relationship building, which does involve face-to-face communications. It also involves how to use technology to stay in touch with people. and goal setting. And these are things that our schools do not teach people. And the reality is, if 70% of all the jobs you're going to get in your life are based on your network, then really understanding how do you build that network, and you cannot do it without human contact, is a huge failing of our schools. Now, I'm actually creating a virtual training program on how do you do that, and I've written 3 best-selling books about it. I got an app coming out that'll make it easier for people to stay in contact. But part of it is our educational system is failing them. The third thing is technology. I mean, technology, the way they use technology is as a communication tool, and they use it as a substitute for human contact. What I believe, and maybe I'm an idiot, but I think that what's going to happen is that as they get into the life, workforce, and they begin to understand what it takes to be successful, those skills will develop just like mine did.
Jerry, you know what? Unfortunately, we are out of time, but we definitely get the gist of what you're saying. Thank you so much. That is a workplace culture expert, Jerry Acuff, with us here on the Kogo News Live Line.
All right.